Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my show Camera Tuesday. In today's episode, we're gonna discuss which camera is for you. Well, before this video that I have made a lot of videos about why no to each damn company, basically no to Sony, no to Canon, no to Nikon. Now question becomes which is for you. Well, first you have to narrow down what exactly do you need. So before that, you have to understand there are three critical types of camera. Camera type number one, basically hybrid camera. Now these camera can do amazing photography, amazing detail, richness in photography. Basically they are unmatched in photography, and they can do video. Now, why newer cameras are called hybrid cameras but not the older ones, like older DSLR like Canon 5D Mark II, is simply because back then, even though when they can read the full sensor readout and have a full HD output, there was so many compromises in them, mainly with autofocus, exposure control. Basically, you could not change the aperture, you could not change the shutter speed, all those things that are now being removed. Then you can say, okay, this camera can do amazing photographs and can do really good videos. So those are classified as hybrid camera. So if video is a need that you only do once in a while, hybrid is for you. So that's step number one. Step number two, you have video camera. Now video camera is like Blackmagic Ursa Mini. Now these cameras are specifically built for one purpose: video only. You can see them in their spec sheet when they are describing their sensor. They are generally 12 megapixel or 8 megapixel, so they are not meant for photography. They will not give you the performance of a basically DSLR or mirrorless system. However, in video they are unmatched. They can do everything a hybrid can do. However, they can do it for long. Inherently, the core design benefit of these kind of beasts are because they are designed in such a way they can do long form recording. So if let's say you are doing an interview and that interview can stretch on for let's say 3 hours or 4 hours, or sometimes you see red letter media when they are doing their form video editing and all that, it they have multiple hours of footage. In those sort of scenario, these camera can hold their own. They can really pull their weight in those sort of scenarios. Think of it this way: let's say there is a cricket match. In old days when it used to be 50-50, basically 50 over by 50 over, that was a very long recording and you could not stop recording at any moment in time because video was broadcasted live. So the video cameras are specifically built for that. Now let's say you are doing a wedding and you know when the critical events will happen, let's say a ring ceremony or bride and groom case or Varmala in case of Indian weddings and all that. And if you are familiar with that time and you know, okay, this will happen in this 10-minute window, a hybrid camera will give you amazing photo. But here's the, if you do not know that, or for some reason you want to have a whole event recorded and then you want to trim out what are the interesting things or what are the bad things, in those scenario the hybrid camera will give up. Basically it's not meant to run multiple hour long. It's not meant to that. It inherently cannot do that. And it's not like, oh, Sony cannot do that. No, neither Canon, neither Nikon, neither Sony, basically Panasonic, nothing can do it. Only Panasonic SH1 can do that, simply because it has a cooling fan built into it. So you get the idea. Like, there is a reason for pro handycams are still being sold in the market, simply because they have many specific video only features and they can do this for long. Like basically it's like Captain America, I can do this all day. So your hybrid can do photography all day, videography not so long. When you have video cameras like Ursa Mini and all that, they can do like all day. Like they are meant to run 24/7. Now again, don't push it to that much, but you get the idea. Then we come to the cinema camera. Now here's the cinema camera will give you the highest video quality possible, but they will not give you it for very long. I'm like, why is that? Well, even though movies are 3 to 4 hours long, you must have seen if you have ever seen any cinema projection, the reel sizes are huge. Now you can understand that nobody's gonna have a camera that has like a reel size this huge. So what people do generally, they'll have quote unquote shots. So each reel would be like only meant for 10 minutes or 20 minutes of recording. So from day one, like from the early days of recording in large film, basically super 35mm films, people are tuned in such a way that whole basically cinematography is done in a way where they say each take is only few minutes. Like your movie could be 3 hour long or 5 hour long in case of Lord of the Rings, but your shots would be very small, and that carried into digital also. Now again, many digital cameras have equipments where they can extend their recording time. They may have external server recording where they like just feed the data into server, because nothing can handle that kind of bitrate. You are talking about, like in case of a Red Epic, 600 megabytes, capital B, per second. That's like your normal computer SSD would be pushed to the limit. You're gonna need NVMe if you want to do video editing on that. So that's a Red Epic. And if you're running Alexa high level, basically 65mm, you need a freaking server, or the flash memory will fill up very quickly. So these cameras, basically like Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, they can do video recording. They can do video recording for long, but they are not meant to do recording as long as Alexa. So not Alexa, Ursa. So why they are everything named after A? So These are the best video quality that you can get out of it. So if you want long form recording, basically you want to like, hey, this is my video camera, I'm gonna record for as long as I need to, go for a video camera. If you are like, hey, I only record, I know what I'm gonna do, like for my instance, I'm recording YouTube videos every day for past 2 years, and I know for a fact that my videos will not be longer than 30 minutes. Or actually it's the camera is forcing me to be like that, but you get the idea. Like I'm comfortable that okay, I'm gonna make sure my videos are like 10 to 15 minutes long or 20 minutes in some scenarios. So again, I fit myself within the limit, and hybrid camera is more than good enough for me. I don't need to spend money for a cinema camera. But again, if you are making a cinema movie like full high quality where you want to stretch the projection out to like hundreds of inches or 200 inches, you have to have this kind of quality, because even a video camera will start to like, you will be like, dude, it does not hold up. Like you can easily say, hey, it's made on a cheap camera. So these are the three types of, they have little bit of overlap but not too much. So please figure out yourself out, like what do you need. If you need short-term recording, hybrid camera is more than enough, good enough. Now if you want short-form recording but you have to have the highest quality feasible, maybe you are doing green screening, maybe you are doing like a lot of VFX work, go for a cinema camera. And you are doing something that is like a bit of both, basically you are doing green screening and you want to do recording for a very long time, go for a video camera, simply because a cinema, this sort of camera is not built to run 24/7. So three types of camera. Then we come to the sensor. Now again, this is the part that sees the world. So there are also three types. Type number one is crop sensor, which you see from your mobile phone to Sony RX100, basically anything smaller than 1. What is that? What does that mean? Simply means 1 means 35mm full frame. Now why does that 35mm full frame has that legacy where it says full frame? Simply because it has unchanged for 100 years. 100 years of legacy is there. Everything, mass production supports it, lens manufacturing supports it, camera manufacturing supports it. So it's a standard. Basically it's like a meter of the measurement world. It's like, it's known, it's absolute, it's unchanging. When you come to crop sensor, there are two major options that you can choose. You have micro four third and you have APS-C. Now even in APS-C there are two major formats. Let's say you are choosing either let's say Nikon or Sony, you're gonna get 1.5x crop. 1.5x crop, that would be your APS-C. But if you are buying Canon system like I have done, you would get Canon APS-C, which is 1.6, because Canon was a small company at that beginning of digital era, and they did not have the money to like form, they wanted to save a bit of money on sensor manufacturing. They saved by cropping the sensor a little bit. And Panasonic comes along, and during that time security cameras were using 4/3 system. So they are like, hey, security camera is already there, a lot of camera industrial cameras are already there, that sensor was already there, and because the sensor was so small, it did not have heating issue, because if you have to have a longer cable, you must increase the voltage, otherwise the power will simply not go from point A to point B. So for that reason, your APS-C sensor will not overheat as much as your basically full frame. So that is why you can have 60 frame per second in micro four third, but not 60 frame per second in a full frame system. And only camera that comes even close is Canon C700 and Panasonic Panasonic SH1, which has a cooling fan. So you can understand that, like, because 35mm has been unchanged for 100 years, it became standard. Everything is either below it or above it. So this is the one absolute standard. So cropped one, which is basically compromise system, because it never caught on to the same extent as full frame. Again, full frame is for 100 years. So you have crop sensor. Then you come to the medium format. If if like bigger is better, wouldn't medium format would be better? Yes, absolutely. Medium format became quote unquote commercial equipment. Basically, if you are seen any Playboy magazine where all the photography of model is generally done on medium format, Rolex photography generally done on medium format, Victoria's Secrets. So there are like a lot of things where like people will not even dare to show up with a basically full frame system. Full frame is too small for them, so they generally use phase one cameras or specific build digital backs on their old ancient cameras. They use that kind of system, or they can use something like Fuji GX series. Now problem with medium format is a range of formats. It's not Fuji says I'm medium format, phase 1 also says, but here's the phase 1 is almost 10 to 20% bigger than this sensor, and it also calls it a medium format, because medium format simply means bigger than basically 35mm full frame and smaller than large format, which was 1 foot by 1 foot. So anything between these will be classified as basically medium format. That is why medium format is no longer as widespread as it used to be. At one time Pentax used to make medium format, Fuji is making now medium format is no longer that wow that it used to be, simply because full frame started to catch up. So this is the reality of sensors. You have three main types: crop, full frame, and medium format. Medium format has multiple other formats inside it. So let's say you are a budding photographer and like this is it. You want to be a photographer. You have decided which system is best for you. Well, simplest way I can simply say full frame is the best photography tool right now. Why? One simple way. Full frame have reached a point where it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. What does that mean? Because here's the image quality only matters on one thing: lens. If you have good lens, you can get great image. Basically, if you don't have good lens, you dead flat out. It does not matter. You have medium format, and you can see the basically manifestation of this. I have provided a video down below where you can see Chelsea and Tony. They are like oh, this is medium format from like Hasselblad $40,000 hoo ha, and like compare that to normal Panasonic Panasonic, I'm saying Nikon D800, and like yeah, Nikon D800 is better. Why? Because it has better lens selection. So that is the whole reason. Like lenses matter more than anything else. If you have good lens, awesome. If you don't have good lens, it does not matter. Like flat out, that's the reality. So what happened? Well, full frame reached a point where, because it has been running for 100 years, because the film that you can buy from Kodak could go into Canon, it can go into Nikon, it can go into Pentax, it can go into God knows any hundreds of other companies like Leica and things of that nature. Everybody started to make lens that can cover that area. So that created a basically self-fulfilling loop. Like if people wanted lenses, they're like, I have to buy full frame. Why? Because again, there are lenses. Because more full frame sold, more people started to make lenses for that. Then people are like, hey, even more lenses are available. So you can understand, it's like one hand washing the another. It's like more lenses are sold, more full frames are sold. More lenses are sold, more full frames are sold. So it became a complete cycle. And this is the reason why, even though on sales chart you will see like cropped body sensors are outselling every full frame put together, they are still not making as much money to Canon or Nikon as their full frame. Why? Because people buy full frame, generally they have a much higher tendency of buying more lenses, and company makes their money from lenses. That's why Canon's red link lenses or Nikon's gold lenses or Sony's G Master lenses are generally for full frame system. That is why I'm specifically clarifying this. It's like you need lenses. Let's say you are a budding architecture, basically architecture photography you want to do. Yes, the best way to do that, like if you really want to stand out from the crowd, is buy a tilt shift lens. Try that with any system other than full frame. Good luck with that. Just good luck. And you might be like, hey, I don't need that. Yes, you may not need it, but other people may need it. And because those people who need it, and they will say, hey, it's only available for full frame, people will Sony will sell full frame, Nikon will say full frame, Canon will sell full frame. And because of looking at that, Sigma will say, hey, more full frames are selling than APS-C system, like in terms of lens buy. So let's make more lenses. Seeing that, somebody else will come along, hey, more cheaper full frame lenses are available than high-end APS-C lens, let's buy full frame. So you can see it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. That is the sole reason. I'm not saying full frame, buy full frame because full frame is better. It's simply best tool at this point, because it's reached a point where it's like, hey, I have this amazing drill, but I don't have drill bit that I need. That's the same with camera. Only in camera it's inverted. Basically, drill bits are your lenses and camera body you throw away. So full frame have largest lens selection. In terms of macro lens selection, you don't have like, okay, 90mm 1x1. You have 90mm 1x1, 90mm 1x4, 85mm 1x2. Like there are 15 to 16 options in each companies. So that is the reason why people buy full frame. It's simply because you don't have to do a headache too much about it. It's like when you buy APS-C, you have to like, do I have lens selection? Let's say Fuji makes very good APS-C system, but here's the only 27 lenses are available. If those lenses satisfy your need, awesome, enjoy. If they don't satisfy, you don't have any third-party option, and not to mention you don't have any cheaper third-party option. So for many people, hey, I don't have the luxury of taking out a bank loan or something like that, where I have to I have to buy a G Master lens or something. Tamron is like, hey, I can help you, but here's the most Tamron lenses are full frame. Some are there like 18 to 400mm is there for APS-C, but you get the idea. So full frame is the largest lens selection. That creates a cycle loop system. So it's very loved by pros and very suited by pros. That's like, I can guarantee you, go to any sports stadium, basically any Olympic event, any cricket event, I can guarantee you almost everything on the the streamline photography line would be full frame system. It does not matter whether it's from Nikon, Canon or Sony, it will be a full frame system. Unlikely that it will ever be in my medium format, simply because the lenses never caught on, because again, everybody was making their own medium format, and APS-C, again, the same problem happened. So cropped sensors do sell a lot, like D3100 sold like a crap lot, and D5300 was like a mind-boggling success, while Canon series like D500 series was successful, D800 was successful, but they do not sell lenses. Lenses are the main money maker. So this is the reason why I will say for photography, there is 99% of chance that if you buy a full frame system, while selecting the lens, please select the damn lens before you choose. you will be happy with basically full frame system. Do not even think about anything lower than that. And it also has another luxury, because these are so big and huge, you go to a wedding, people take you seriously. It's like, whoa, serious thing. So full frame for photography. Then we come to the second aspect. It's like, what about cinema? Let's say you want to make a short movie, you want to make a movie itself. What about that? Well, you have a lot of option if you give up manual, basically autofocus. Now again, cinema, like people will laugh at you if you go to like Alexa and like, does it have autofocus? It does not have autofocus. Like, there is a person whose sole job is focus puller. His like sole job is, there will be a knob on side of a lens. It's gonna be like, okay, okay, okay. Like his sole dedicated job is just that. He's a focus puller. So in those sort of scenario, you can use anything, because autofocus is a very complicated system. Sony has nailed it down, Canon has nailed it down, Nikon had nailed it down in DSLR, but their mirrorless is not that good. Like, it's not horrible, but it's not that good. Like almost every other company is like, either you have Sony and Canon and you have everything else. So how do people do that? Again, I said 35mm has become a 100-year thing. So people took that 35mm film, instead of taking the photographs that are taken in landscape, somebody made it like this. So it became horizontal. That is why it's called Super 35. Now, side effect of that, it became again small, because they had to do that so film loop cannot be, would not become too huge. And not to mention, film, the celluloid that you see was already mass produced. So they are like, okay, just package it differently. So that created Super 35, and it was the bread and butter for cinema industry for a very long time, like almost 100 years, even older than that. So Super 35 was the king. Like that's why you will see any camera like C200, kinematic cameras, and that's why like crop sensor is not that big of a taboo in basically cinema industry, even though red epic is only Super 35. So 35mm Super 35 basically, which is APS-C size, bit wider, is king so far. However, recently things have changed. The processors become good, the sensors manufacturing became good, and large format is making an entry. Now large format, when I say large format, I really mean large format. I mean large format in a place where even basically Red Epic is switching, and they are now offering large formats which are a bit bigger than full frame. Then you are going to cameras that is used by Christopher Nolan, who was like, I'm not going to touch anything other than negative. He's also switching to digital. It was used in Dunkirk. Very weird camera, I can't recall their exact name. Then you come to Alexa, which is 65mm. It's like 65mm reborn. It's huge. Like you can put like 2 full frame into this. It's huge. Now you might be like, hey, did anybody actually use this movie? Again, Dunkirk was one movie. Then you have Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame was shot in this. When they say IMAX camera, this is what they are referring to. So it's huge. You can understand, like, it's huge. And you might be like, okay, only $1 billion movie does that. No, Joker was also shot on that. Now, if you are familiar with Joker movie and how awesome it looks, you must have seen there was a scene when Arthur gets beaten up and he's like crawling, laying on the road. And you see, when camera points out, there is only 1 foot of focus area and everything else is out of focus. To achieve that, you need great lenses. Now, that is the critical thing. I keep coming back to this point. If you have great lenses, you will get amazing output from anything, even from Super 35. How the heck that's possible? Simply because look at the lens selections. This is a full frame lens. This is a cinema lens from Canon itself, 35mm to 35mm. You can understand the amount of glass they have, the quality of glass they have, the polishing on the glass they have. It's completely different ballgame. Like this will be $1,000, this will be $6,000. So that is why cinema lens, even on a small sensor, they can give you such an amazing system. And if you have cinema lens on granddaddy like this, you will get amazing like Arthur movie. Like I was blown away like how amazing the shallow depth of field in that movie is. Basically, he's on a bus and that's like this. Everything is out of focus. Like everything is like that would be best way to shoot green screen. It's like green screen would be just blur. It's like you don't even have to worry about anything. So you can understand that large format is slowly creeping in. Even small companies like Gifinity, they are also releasing their medium large format system, which is basically full frame. So people are switching to that. And not to mention, because RE and other companies like Canon Cine, they have lenses to back it up. They're gonna give you amazing footage. However, Super 35 is more than good enough for starting point. If you can use manual focus, Blackmagic with a speed booster with Canon lenses will give you amazing result, where you will not longer be like, hey, I want that Joker kind of shallow depth of field. Well, practically speaking, you have only one way. It's like buy a Nikon Z series, buy that knocked lens which is 0.95. That is the only way you can get that kind of wow, mind-bending kind of shallow depth. Even that will not be shallow enough, but what else can you do? So this is the reality of cinema. It's like cinema lenses are on a different ballgame. That's why even with a smaller sensor, they give such amazing output. And their cameras are built for one thing only. It's like, hey, give the best possible video output. 600 Mbps per second. Like that's different ballgame. So this was my presentation on what camera is for you. I hope this clarified some things out of you, like what are the sensors, what are the camera types, and that should have at least cleared something out. And I will further go down into this rabbit hole and make sure that you can select a perfect camera that is well suited for you. In those scenarios, if you liked it, learn from it. In that case, please click the like button. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I'd urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me your extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.